Hi guys, this is Tarun from Testing Gyan. In this video, we will discuss about very commonly asked Selenium exceptions. We will see how these exceptions can occur and then we will discuss how we can resolve these exceptions. So let us start. The first exception in the list is stale element reference exception. Stale simply means something which is no longer fresh or is decayed. And in Selenium, stale element exception can occur when the referred web element is no longer attached to the DOM or is deleted completely. Now to understand more on this, I am taking one example. So in my example, what I'm doing, I'm navigating to my web application and then I'm trying to perform action on this multi-select field. Okay. So in this field, I can select multiple options like this with one click. Okay. And to reproduce the stale element exception, what I'm doing, first of all, I'm storing all of these elements, all of these options in a list of web elements using driver.find elements. Okay. And then every time in depending on the number of elements which are there in the list, I'm iterating over the each element using a for loop. And then every time I'm trying to reach the first option of the list, which is in the list, it will be at the 0th index. Okay. So what happens, like when I select this element, okay, in my first iteration this element will be selected, and in my second iteration when I try to reach again to the first element of the list, it will give me the stale element reference exception because the DOM structure in the backend is changed. The element once I selected is being deleted. Okay, so now let us see. So here in the code, this part is where I'm doing the login and this part where I'm doing the navigation to the object. Okay, and in this part I am storing all the options of the multi-select list in a list of web element. Okay, then here I'm trying to iterate over all of those options and then I'm trying to select the first option of the list. So let me run this code. So I'm logged into the application now. Now it's going to the account object, and in the new account, and then it is reaching to the multi-select field. So you can see it has selected the first option, and right after that I got the stale element reference exception because in my next iteration the element which I was referring is lost, is deleted. Okay, so this is a scenario, one of the scenarios when we can get a stale element exception. Okay, to handle stale element exception there are few options. The first very common solution is we can refresh the web page and then we can try to reach the web element again. The second option is sometime it is because of the weights as well, so we have to implement the weights accordingly. And then the third option is like we can use the try catch so that our execution is not blocked, it catches the exception and moves forward. After this, the next exception in the list is no such element exception. This is also a very common exception. So this exception can occur for the reasons like when the locator of the web element is somehow wrongly mapped or it is changed. Okay, or your page is not loaded completely and the element is still not loaded in the DOM. Okay, in such scenarios you will get no such element exception, which simply means the element which you are trying to reach is not present in the web page. Okay, so to reproduce this exception, so what I'm doing, I have mapped this search box field wrongly here. Okay, the locator of the field is wrong here right now. So if I try to run this code, okay, so first let me call this function which is no such element exception. Okay, now let me run this. So as the locator of the element is wrongly mapped, I should get the no such element exception in this case. So you can see no such element exception. So to resolve this, what I will do, I will check first of all, I will check my locator and I will check if there is some kind of weight issues. Okay. So now you can see in this case action is performed after changing the locator of the web element. So this is how we can handle the no such element exception. Now the last exception in the list is timeout exception. So this exception can occur for reason like we are trying to reach an web element, and in order to reach that web element we have implemented some wait. Okay, and within that time frame if element is not visible or is not present, then we will get the timeout exception. So to reproduce this exception, I am using this code here where I am trying to wait for the element. Okay, wait for the clickability of the element for some time. Okay, and then I'm trying to click on that web element. So if I run this code now, first of all let me call this function. Okay, so it waited for the web element, and then within the time frame that element is not present. Actually this element, this button element is hidden in this case. So in this case I will always get the timeout exception whether I'm giving 100 seconds or 200 seconds because the element is hidden. Okay, so I'm getting the timeout exception in this case. So in order to handle this exception, simply like what you can do, if you have to bypass this exception or any other exception, we can always use the try catch, that is the basic exception handling in Java. And then you can check out the web element, is it correctly mapped. The other thing which you can do is like you can increase the timeout value, the wait value, so that maybe that element is taking some time. You can implement fluent waits. Okay, so these kind of solutions you can implement in order to handle the timeout exception. So this was all about exceptions, some very basic exceptions. So in case you have any questions, please let us know over the video comments. We will try our best to answer those queries. Thank you.